Public transit in Santa Clara County did not always mean radio-equipped white buses with blue and orange stripes. On November 1st, 1868, the first horse-pulled streetcar carried paying passengers down the Alameda between San Jose and Santa Clara. The trip took 45 minutes. The line, owned by Sam Bishop, was called the San Jose and Santa Clara Railroad. On April 2nd, 1872, Bishop's second line, the First Street Railroad, emerged running north and south on First Street, crossing his other line at First and Santa Clara Streets. The area grew. In 1875, Bishop had his first competition when the North Side Horse Railroad was built from First and St. John Streets up to near the northeast city limits. In 1876, another group built the Market Street and Willow Glen Railroad to Willow Glen from Market and Santa Clara Streets. In 1877, yet another line emerged. The Southeast Side Company built from a connection with the North Side Road to Reed and 9th Streets in San Jose. This was a period of great real estate speculation, and wherever the horse car lines were built, the property values skyrocketed. In 1878, Jacob Rich entered the picture. In 1879, he had built another line to Santa Clara from downtown San Jose. His road, the People's Horse Railroad, went by a different route, but still competed strongly with Bishop's line down the Alameda. This competition resulted in a horse car feud. By 1882, Rich had acquired all the lines but Bishop's San Jose to Santa Clara line. The two competitors then decided more profit could be made through monopoly than competition, and they merged. In the late 1880s, the lines were converted from horse to electric. The underground conduit system chosen by the partners was a disaster both in terms of operation and financially. The men had committed their fortunes to a system that did not work. Because of this, they had to sell the San Jose to Santa Clara lines to James H. Henry. Bishop was out of the transit picture, but Rich still owned some local lines in San Jose. Rich incorporated those lines into the San Jose Railroad Company. He never fully recovered from his bad investment, and during a depression in 1897, the German Savings and Loan took over Rich's operation. The turn of the century was a time of boom for electric transit railroads. It was a time of great speculation and growth. Hugh Center bought the San Jose to Santa Clara lines as well as the new Alum Rock Railroad. The narrow gauge lines were broad gauged, and the lines were organized by the Amalgamated Association of Street Railway Employees of America. The streetcar growth of this period was great for the businessmen and investors who profited from them. The workers, however, did not share in this boom. Men worked 10 to 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, commonly in the industry in those days. In contrast, the horses, considered valuable property, were changed every 2 to 4 hours. Wages then ranged from 10 to 20 cents an hour. Because of this, workers across the country fought, struck, and sometimes died in bitter battles to organize. However, in San Jose, management was too caught up in the local growth spurt to worry about the union. On June 12, 1902, Local 265 came into existence with little struggle. Another reason management did not fight the union was that at first Local 265 was not that strong. Some members did not support the local, some did not even belong to the union. During the first decades of the century, ownership of all the streetcar lines came to the Southern Pacific Railroad. Southern Pacific divided the Santa Clara County lines into two organizations. The San Jose Railroad operated the streetcars in San Jose. The Peninsula Railway operated all the interurban lines, such as the one to Saratoga. The Peninsula also hauled freight with 2 electric locomotives. These 2 lines were part of a California electric empire being built by the Southern Pacific from Los Angeles to Marin County. In the 1930s, the union's name was changed to the Amalgamated Association of Street, Railway, and Motor Coach Employees of America. By this time, with a lot of help from the automobile, the fortunes of the electric streetcar railroads had reversed. Decline was the order of the day. Buses came along and replaced the streetcar lines that were shut down piecemeal. For the working person, it was still a hard life. Gains had been made, but in 1935, workers still made only around 55 cents an hour, 6 to 9 hours a day on a 6-day work week. On June 12, 1935, the Peninsula Railway ceased to exist. Its San Jose passenger operations were turned over to the San Jose Railroad. On April 10, 1938, the San Jose Railroad ceased trolley operations and switched to all buses after running its last streetcar. A year later, Southern Pacific was out of the transit picture. It sold out to Pacific City Lines, which started San Jose City Lines as a subsidiary. Pacific City Lines was affiliated with National City Lines, a transit conglomerate. The war years brought wages up to around 85 cents an hour. When gas rationing became law in 1943, bus ridership increased. Focus was put on the transit systems getting defense workers to the war industries. Direct service was inaugurated from San Jose to the Oakland shipyards. Buses started skipping stops in order to preserve the rubber tires and fuel. The transit employees, growing tired of the poor wages and working conditions, were pressing for a wage boost in the 1943 contract of 30 cents an hour. The matter went to wartime arbitration. The workers at the time were frustrated, but a wave was started, a wave that would lead to the first real flexing of the union's muscle, the strike of 47. In 1947, Local 265 joined with Stockton and Sacramento in a strike for better wages. The other cities gave in and settled for a gain of just pennies an hour. The San Jose workers held strong and won the strike. A few years later, a driver's wages were up to $1.48 an hour. The strike success had driven the workers to a state of union militancy. The union got results. The 50s marked a real struggle for money. Ridership was declining, and the system was losing money. The average contract brought a raise of 18 cents an hour, but not much increase in benefits. In 1961, there was another strike, this one a month long. The 90 drivers earning $2.23 an hour and the 14 maintenance workers earning $2.47 an hour got a 20-cent an hour raise. Patronage was down to around 25,000 riders a day. The 60s was a time of continued decline. Every year the equipment grew older and less reliable. In 65, the city started subsidizing the line. National City Lines wanted out of West Coast Transit. In 1962, it unloaded its interests in Pacific City Lines, the owner of San Jose City Lines. President of Pacific City Lines, George Hook, announced they also wanted out of San Jose Transit. In 68, Pacific did get out of the transit business, and Hook bought it, along with Glenn Gordon. Both the men were also formerly with National City Lines. In 64, something else happened. The union's name was changed to the Amalgamated Transit Union. 1969, like 47, was a pivotal year for the local. San Jose City Lines, under the ownership of Hook and Gordon, couldn't come to an agreement with the union on a new contract. The day after Thanksgiving, the workers went out on a strike that would last until January 5th the next year. After 4 weeks of strike, the union and company were brought together. Hook had died and left the company in Gordon's hands. Gordon announced he didn't want to have anything to do with the bus line anymore and told the union he was giving the company back to its previous owner. They didn't want it, so the union had no employer to bargain with. The union then appealed to the city and the Better Business Bureau about what the loss of public transit would mean to the downtown area. The city contacted a former San Jose City Lines manager, and by January 5th, a contract was signed and the workers went back to work. Talk of forming a public transit district had been on labor leaders and politicians' minds and tongues for years. This event put such plans in high gear. The union, being run part-time by its officers out of the trunks of their cars, saved transit in San Jose and led the way to the formation of a new transit district. June 6, 1972, the voters passed a measure creating the Santa Clara County Transit District. The behind-the-scenes lobbying on the part of union leaders during this period went a long way towards making this possible. Were it not for their efforts, the district would likely not exist. The district inherited a lot of equipment that could only be described as decrepit. To replace it, the new management decided to dabble in new technology instead of staying with time-proven designs. Rather than buying diesels, they ordered propane-powered buses. Many of these broke down often. Several caught fire and burned up in operation. A dial-a-ride scheme was tried that proved to be nothing short of a disaster. In October 1976, the system, unable to cope with all these problems, simply broke down. For workers, the lack of dependable, safe equipment was a real work issue. The district leased buses from Los Angeles and as far away as New Jersey to help out. Much of this equipment itself was junk. However, the district was able to be pulled out of the slump thanks to the hard, dedicated work of the employees working overtime and the opening of new service yards. The addition of new, reliable equipment also helped return the system to dependable operation. The dramatic growth in the mid-70s was marked also with a high level of rank-and-file involvement. The local grew in the decade from 122 members to over 1,400. The union government went through a dramatic 10-year evolution from its trunk-of-the-car days to having a computer-equipped office. As one now retired ex-union officer said, there are other good unions and other good locals, but none have gotten more for their people than we have. It's hard to predict what the future holds for the district. With light rail coming, streetcars may again return to the streets of San Jose. As the district grows, so must the union. For this to happen, workers must get involved. As the local's history shows, if the workers don't stand up to protect their own interests, nobody else will.
Forever,